Many Virginia farmers know their land is tied to events that shaped our nation and do their best to preserve them.
We ask you, Lord, to bless us on this 150th anniversary of the Battle of Cumberland Church, as we honor the memories and sacrifices of the nearly 1,000 soldiers of the Union and Confederate armies who gave their blood, bodies, and lives on these fields so that our country could become one again. We ask you to help us save, preserve, and respect the tangible artifacts of their long-ago struggle on this day today. Amen.
The Battle of Cumberland Church took place on April 7, 1865, just 2 days before the Confederacy surrendered at Appomattox, Virginia. It is considered the last military victory of the South, and much of that battle occurred on the 400 acres of the Price Farm. Today that farm has 170 remaining acres, and the land is owned by history buff Dirk Warner. Because it is still a farm, it appears much as it did in 1865. Warner and his friend Tony Hochstetler are the only two people allowed to use metal detectors there.
There's a special feeling that you get when you touch something that's is 150 years old, and you know that it was handled by a soldier, that brings a tangible evidence of the past and makes it very personal.
Tony calls himself a digger. He and Warner work to preserve history by handling artifacts responsibly. He'll be the first to tell you that he always leaves the property he digs on in better shape than when he arrived.
We do what I call controlled metal detecting. We go out and we find these artifacts, we chart on an actual survey map of the farm where each individual item is found. Many of them we do GPS coordinates if they're significant artifacts. You do have to realize that this farm has been continuously farmed since the 1700s. I consider it an honor to not only take care of this place, but to be able to be a farmer and to raise products for people to consume. And we raise beef cattle here on the farm, and we're doing very well with it.
While Warner is a successful cattleman, he hopes to start a Civil War museum on the property one day. He has already begun writing a book about the battle and is building a growing collection of artifacts that tell the story of the struggle and fighting that came to his farm 150 years ago. This is said to be the first place that General Grant sent a message to General Lee asking for his surrender.
I found a Civil War button just right over there. That came off a guy's uniform. He wore that, and to say it's hallowed ground, I think that's pretty right on. I think that's right to say it's hallowed ground, but I think it's also something that we have a responsibility to learn from their mistakes, learn from the mistakes that caused the war in the first place, and also to show respect to them by uncovering these objects.
To look at this rich agricultural land, you wouldn't know that it was the scene of ferocious fighting and bloodshed. What is now home to cattle was once lined with artillery and brave men in blue and gray.
Rich, poor, African American, Irish, German, all kinds of immigrants that fought in the Civil War and gave their lives and their blood and their soul to make our country united again. And if it wasn't for the struggles of the Civil War, which were horrible, terrible struggles, we wouldn't be the country we are now, the greatest power in the world. We wouldn't be a united country.
It's clear these men have a passion for the land and for the history it bears witness to. And fortunately for history buffs, that land is still being farmed just as it was 150 years ago. From Cumberland County, Virginia, this is Dave Miller.